Welcome back. When President Muhammadu Buhari made his maiden address after he was sworn in 2015, he asked Nigerians to support him in his fight against graft. As the president puts it, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us.
Escalating this, anti-corruption agencies, especially the EFCC, have made some arrests, recovered some assets, and secured some forfeitures. Prominent among them is the Ikoyi money, the money seized at the Kaduna airport. In addition to these recoveries, some prominent Nigerians have their days in court.
Well, the challenge is, however, that the anti-corruption war of the Buhari-led government is perceived by some, especially members of the opposition, to be one-sided. So in line with what the critics are saying, how has this government fared in its fight against corruption? Well, our panelists on this line of discussion, of course, we're retaining Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. Thank you for your patience. Convener, Red Card Movement. We also have joining us Toyosi Akere-Ogusiji, youth activist. We also have Professor Akinye Bode, Professor of International Law and Jurisprudence, and Professor Pt.1 Kalu, former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, human rights activist, joins us. Thank you for coming. And I believe we also have guests joining us via Skype in our Abuja studios.
Yes.
All right.
Well, let's get the conversation going. Let's begin the conversation with Professor Odin Kalu. Do you think that the anti-corruption war is on a steady progress?
No.
Why?
That was fast.
That's very straightforward. I think, quite honestly, it's been discredited. And, you know, I'll give you an example just to illustrate it. The Minister of Information, not any other person, goes on record to release a looters list. And who are the looters? All of them are undergoing trial. Correct?
Is there a crime there?
Excuse me. If you're going to put out a list of looters, all of whom are undergoing trial, then just do that for everybody. So you have to include in that list somebody like Oji Kalu, for instance, Oji Kalu, who is now a close confidant of the president, and who is undergoing trial for allegedly looting Abia State. Okay? But when people, and something as significant and as important as fighting corruption cannot be sacrificed on the altar of political expediency. This really is the problem, I think, that people have got with what is said to be fighting corruption. You've got to fight it without regard to the political camps to which people belong. Now, the question people are going to ask is, where is Babachir David? Where is Maina? Where are the folks who are operating snake farms and having property in Dubai? Okay? Now, when you don't find those people in court, and when tales are being told about people who have been in court for yonks and nothing has been happening to them, then you've got a credibility crisis with your fighting corruption. And when you do that, your entire ethical narrative for governance is collapsed.
Some people would say that
let's bring in our guests in our Abuja studio. We're now being joined from our Abuja studio, the spokesperson of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Wilson Uwajaren, joins us from our Abuja studio. Also, a former member of the House of Representatives, Dr. West Idahosa, also joins us from our Abuja studio. Maybe we'll come to you in a moment. Let me allow Millicent to
based on some of the things you said, Professor Dinkalu, the lawyers will say you can be a judge in your own court. Based on some of the examples that you have given, clearly it's like you have an idea of who should be prosecuted based on corruption.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. If the Secretary to the Government of the Federation has been investigated by the Vice President, the National Security Advisor, and the Attorney General of the Federation, on the basis of which the President has fired him, and you're telling me that that is not authoritative enough to send him to court, there's a problem with fighting corruption.
Maybe we should ask the AFCC spokesperson if that case is on their table. Mr. Wajaran, what can you tell us about that situation?
Hello, the case involving the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation has been investigated by at least 2 panels before now, but the matter is on the table of the EFCC. We are currently doing our investigation, and at the end of the investigation, if we have credible evidence to charge him to court, he will definitely be taken to court. And regarding the comments that Professor Odinkalu made concerning Ojikalu, yes, Ojikalu has left the PDP to APC, but that does not mean that his case under prosecution has stopped. As we speak now, I can record that on May 11, the prosecution closed his case in that matter. So that case is going on. I don't see how his political association can affect the matter that is being prosecuted in court. It has nothing to do with the corruption allegation against him. That case is still going ahead right away.
For the EFCC, is it a matter of perception when critics of the government say that the anti-corruption war is one-sided?
I think I've heard that allegation all over and over again. It has become a cliche, so to speak. But as far as I'm concerned, I think what Nigerians should be worried about is whether allegations against any particular individual has credibility or not. If you are alleged to be corrupt, the question we should ask, does the EFCC has evidence to prosecute you? If they have, we should go ahead and prosecute. We should not concern ourselves about whether somebody is in APC or is in PDP. The issue is, did you violate the law? Did you commit an offense? If you commit offense, the agency should have the liberty to take you to court. It should not be a matter of vindictiveness. It should be a matter that is based purely on evidence. And that is what we are doing. I don't know of anybody, for instance, that the EFCC has taken to court in more than 10 years of existence that has come out to say, I knew nothing about the allegation against me. They will usually cry foul that, okay, you are going after me because I'm in party A. What of Mr. B? Mr. B committed so crime many years ago. You have not touched him, you are touching me. You have to start from somewhere. There's what we call low-hanging fruits. The commission has identified cases that we know, that we believe that we have evidence that we can sustain in court, and we are moving and prosecuting those ones. It does not mean that people in other political parties have immunity. There's nobody that has immunity apart from the 4 categories of officials that have immunity under the Constitution.
What are your thoughts when you hear comments on the fight against graft and corruption in Nigeria?
You know, I thank you very much, Millicent. Just because I'm the only young person on this panel, I'm going to echo the thoughts of a lot of people in my generation. And for me, this issue is on 2 layers. I need us to remember as a nation that President Buhari was elected in 2015 because he almost came to power almost, like a saint. Like Nigerians, for one, were tired of that status quo. And the singular allegation against the government of President Jonathan was humongous, monumental corruption. Now, when you played forward from 2015 to 2018, a lot of Nigerians, especially, a lot of people who supported President Buhari had expectations that his standards and his moral standards would be higher in terms of his tolerance, and his appetite for corruption. However, what we see is, and I'll give a few quick examples. The very first fundamental way to fight corruption is deterrence. The body language of a leader in every context and situation is so significant such that it can send a signal into the entire system that if you steal, you will not remain in the system. And I can draw your attention to Tia Chang when he was Minister of National Development in Singapore under Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. And he took kickbacks from 2 real estate developers. And when Lee Kuan Yew found out, he committed suicide and left a note behind saying that he would rather die than face the consequences of what the Prime Minister would do. Now, if that happens in Nigeria, you have a significant reduction in corruption because you have the president by himself leading it. Now, as Professor Odinkalu said...
Sorry, I'd like to pause it for a moment because we need to take a short break. But we'll continue the conversation on anti-corruption and the issues that have been raised. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back.